daily dose of practical wit and wisdom with a professional educator and trainer, Amazon best-selling author, United States Marine, television and radio host, Paul G. Markle. Each episode will focus on positive and productive ways to strengthen your mindset and help you improve your relationships, career goals, and overall well-being. Please welcome your host, Paul G. Markle.
All right, welcome back to Morning Mindset. I almost said the name of my other show. No, welcome to Morning Mindset. And as we discussed previously, yesterday, in our discussion of leaders versus bosses, I believe that the United States of America has a critical shortage of leaders today. And you don't just tell someone that they have to be a leader. You don't just give them a hat and say, put this hat on, you're now a leader. We need to coach and encourage and train our leaders. And there are absolute, genuine ways to do that. Now, when I was a United States Marine, when I was working on becoming a non-commissioned officer, we had to go through leadership training. And one of the big things that we had to study was the United States Marine Corps official leadership traits. Now, there are 14 of them, and I'm not going to even attempt to do all 14 in one setting. I'm not even going to do 2 per setting. What we're going to do is 1 leadership trait per day until we're done with them. Sound good to you guys? All right. So the Marine Corps leadership traits, when I was in the Corps, one of the things that they teach you is they teach you acronyms. They make up acronyms for everything in the military so you can remember it at a moment's notice. And the Marine Corps leadership traits, and forgive me if you're already aware of these, but a lot of people aren't, are broken down into an acronym called JJ Did Tie Buckle. And you say that doesn't make any sense. And no, it doesn't make any sense, but I learned these 30 years ago, and I still remember them because of JJ Did Tie Buckle. And when we went through our leadership training, we actually had to sit down with a staff sergeant or a gunnery sergeant or even a first sergeant, and they would say, okay, Lance Corporal, you want to be a corporal, tell me about the leadership traits. And you would have to do it. So number 1, and you may want to get a pen or a pencil. I tell you what, if you are genuinely serious about improving your abilities as a leader, whether you are already currently in a position of being a leader or you may in the future be a leader, I would say get a stack of note cards, those little file cards, the 3x5 cards, and a pencil. And as we go through these for the next 14 episodes, write them down and then use them as flashcards. So when you get up in the morning, read one of them, then put it to the back and read the next, and so on and so forth. Super simple way. I'm going to give you a hint here. There are people in corporate America that pay hundreds of dollars to go to seminars to be taught these very things. So you're getting it free for nothing, so you're welcome. All right, number 1, justice. And according to the official Marine Corps leadership traits, and you can get these in my book, Patriot Fireteam Manual, which is available on Amazon or on Kindle. Justice, the definition is, justice is defined as the practice of being fair and consistent. A person gives consideration to each side of a situation and bases rewards or punishments on merit. This is very difficult when you have a society where everything is based upon feelings and emotion. It's very difficult when you've been taught or convinced or you practiced making all of your decisions on what you think is fair or how you feel about a certain situation. Justice is not about how you feel. It's about actual, genuine results or actual genuine facts. If a person screwed up, they did something wrong, they broke the rules, they broke the law, what have you, the justice or the punishment that needs to be meted out should not be based upon how you feel. It should be based upon the actual facts. If a person did a good job, there may be a person that you're not necessarily friends with. There may be an employee that kind of gets on your nerves. You may be one of those people who is a supervisor or a boss or whatever, and there's one or two employees that really get on your nerves, and it's all you can do to stand and talk to them. Now, they're not necessarily a bad person, but they just kind of get on your nerves. Did they do a really good job? And do you base the rewards and the merits on the fact that they did a really good job? Or do you allow the fact that they annoy the crap out of you to cloud your judgment? Okay? So justice. Be honest with yourself about why you are making a particular decision. Avoid favoritism. Try to be fair at all times and treat all things and all people in an equal manner. And this is very, very difficult for us, isn't it? Because no matter where you were raised, no matter where you came from, everyone has certain likes and dislikes. Everyone has certain built-in prejudices. And you're like, oh, prejudice is wrong, Paul, and I don't like it when people use that. It really doesn't matter. Because depending on where you came from, where you were raised, your personal experience and education, you're going to view certain people and situations in a different manner. And so it's, as a leader, being a leader is not necessarily easy. Being a boss is easy. You get the authority, and then you drive people based upon your authority. You say, I said do it, and if you don't do it, I'm going to punish you, or I'm going to fire you, or whatever. End of story, I'm the boss. But that's not how leaders work. Okay. Sometimes being a leader is difficult. Sometimes it requires a serious gut check. Sometimes when you're a leader, you have to go ahead and take the responsibility for a problem onto your own shoulders, not put it off on someone else. So when it's time to mete out justice to give people their due, whether it's rewards or promotions or what have you, based upon their own merits, or whether it's to mete out punishment or discipline based upon actual facts. It's difficult to put your personal feelings aside, but you have to do that because that's what leaders do. I remember there was a sign, it was a plastic sign, and it was on the door of the guard shack. And when I was on the Forrestal, and I was on other places besides the Forrestal, but I was there for 2 years, so I had a lot of experience, and that's where I first became a leader. And it said, a Marine on duty has no friends. And you're like, oh, it's kind of crappy. It's kind of mean. You Marines, you're really mean people. No, but what that was meant to remind you is you don't give your friends special consideration. Justice. Just because you're friends with someone or just because you're not friends with someone didn't mean that you were allowed to treat them differently when it came to being on duty, to legitimate work. What did we talk about yesterday? The accomplishment of the mission, right? So, just a quick wrap. Justice is defined as the practice of being fair and consistent. A just person gives consideration to each side of a situation and bases rewards or punishments on merit. Be honest with yourself about why you made a particular decision and avoid favoritism. All right, so leadership trait, United States Marine Corps leadership trait number 1 is justice. Write it down. And as I mentioned at the beginning, in my book, Patriot Fire Team, the Patriot Fire Team Manual, which is available on Amazon as a paperback or Kindle as a Kindle version, in the leadership chapter, all of these are written out, they're spelled out, and if you wanted to be a super slick listener, what you could do is go over to Kindle, put them on your phone, and then follow along every day as we do these. So today's leadership trait, write it down, remember it, is justice. And during the next segment, we will move on to the next J, because JJ did tie buckle, and we're going to talk about judgment. All right, folks, as I said before, and I'll say it again, I'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you for spending time with us today. To get show notes, submit a topic request, and for more from your host, Paul G. Markle, visit morningmindsetpodcast.com. That's morningmindsetpodcast.com. Please leave a review for this podcast on your favorite podcast player. We appreciate your time and effort, and we look forward to reading your honest feedback.